Good evening, everybody. Wow, own your life. It's taken me a few years to realize how to own my life. And as I'm studying this book and as I'm preparing the sessions, it's like a little Christmas light becoming a sweet light, becoming the sunlight as it becomes clearer and clearer. Now to educate my people as well as our people. So I'm going to share the screen and we're going to get right into the session. Just bear with me. I'm not quite au fait with sharing screen from the beginning. Down there. I'm going to take that away there. Okay, I'm going to just reiterate what you are going to tell your potential people. When you subtract out the sleeping time, the commuting time, the working time, and the time for things you have to do each and every day of your life, almost all people don't have more than 1 or 2 hours each day to do what they like to do. And if they had the time, would they have the money to do it? We have discovered a way for you to learn how to own your life by building a home-based business. And we have a system for doing it that is so simple, anyone can do it. It doesn't require selling. And the best part is it won't take much of your time. So let's get into napkin presentation number 2, which is titled Salespeople Failure Syndrome. Over the years, we've noticed that some experienced salespeople can have a difficult time making the transition to network marketing. This is the issue we address now in napkin presentation 2. When putting together a network marketing organization, it's better to sponsor 10 good teachers than 10 good salespeople. Of course, sales professionals can be a tremendous asset to your organization if, like everyone else, they go through the 10 napkin presentations and thoroughly understand them. Most people get confused by the statement, but remember, they still don't understand that network marketing is a method of marketing. There are so many different methods. We are not sponsoring people into a direct sales organization. Your direct sales organizations is like your Avon, your Tupperware, car salesmen and those type of people, insurance sales people. We are sponsoring them into a network marketing program. Much of the time, the problem you will have with a salesperson is that when they see the high quality of the product you represent, they want to take it and start selling straight away. They can put their own presentation together. They don't need us to tell them how to sell it. They're professionals. That sounds very familiar to my life, my way of interpreting this whole thing from the beginning. I know how to do it. I'm a salesperson. I've sold how many things? I own my own business. I did it all. I know how to do it. I don't need this system that you guys are using. The point is, we don't want to tell them how to sell. However, we do want to teach them how to sponsor, teach, and build a large, successful network marketing organization. Sales professionals, and anyone for that matter, can do just that without selling anything in the normal sense and definition of the word selling. If you don't take the time to sit down with your people and explain a few simple things about network marketing and why it is different than direct selling, then the tendency is for them to go off in the wrong direction. As we continue on with this napkin presentation, we will give you just a few examples, but right now we'll do napkin presentation 2 that explains the salespeople failure syndrome. Most people think, and especially salespeople, that if you sponsor someone, you've duplicated your effort, end of story, that's what you've done. So you were told to duplicate yourself. So now you've done it, next one. But look at the circles that are drawn here. There was one, and now there's two. It sounds logical. That's duplication. One, and then the someone exactly the same as you, it's more duplication. But it's not true. The reason why it's not true is that the person represented by the top circle, you, the sponsor, if you go away, the one that you sponsored will also go away. That person won't continue. You must explain to the people in your organization that if they truly want to duplicate themselves, they have to be at least 3 levels deep. Only then are they duplicated. Imagine your own sponsor dropped out, your upline, before you had an opportunity to see if the program really did work. You would probably assume that it doesn't work because it didn't work for your sponsor. So after all, he or she is your sponsor and certainly must know more about it than you. So let's say that you here in this figure on the right-hand side here, you sponsor a chappie called Tom. Now, if you leave and Tom doesn't know what to do because you haven't taught him the correct way, then that's it. The business will collapse and that's it. But if you do teach Tom how to sponsor and he sponsors Carol, you are only beginning to duplicate yourself. However, if Tom doesn't learn how to teach Carol to sponsor, then again, it will fizzle out and that's the end of it. You have to keep teaching. You have to teach Tom how to teach Carol how to sponsor. Then she can sponsor Betty or whoever. Now you are 3D. If you go away to work with someone else or to a different area of the country, this subgroup will continue on. You have to go 3 deep minimum. You have nothing until you are 3 deep, and only then are you duplicated. If you don't communicate anything but this one point to the people you sponsor, then you will have the key that will make you more successful than most others in the network marketing program. Here's what happens to the salespeople. They look at the demonstration of the product, they hear or read the testimonials of the results, other than have had with the testimonials, and the testimonials that we have are so good and absolutely convincing because it's just the truth. Armed with this information, they just want to get out there and do it their way and sell like crazy. Remember, they're salespeople. They have been in direct selling businesses and they don't have any problem calling on strangers, which is great. So you say to your super salesperson, you really want to make big bucks, you cannot do it by yourself. You need to sponsor people. Sales are great, but we need to sponsor. So what does your salesperson do? He or she goes out and sponsors and sponsors and sponsors, and your salesperson will just sponsor up a storm. Debbie, does that sound familiar with somebody in your team? A good salesperson in a network marketing program can sponsor 3 or 4 people in a week. I wish I could. But here is what really happens. It gets to a point, and it doesn't take long, that people are dropping out as fast as they are being added. If you don't work with new people effectively, and you can't be effective if you're trying to work with more than 5 at a time. Remember what we learned last week. And you will see them becoming discouraged and giving up. So you sponsor, now I've lost all my goodies here. So you sponsor your people and a little bit, what is happening is they go off looking for something else to sell because suddenly nobody's working with them. So they get impatient and I think somebody's trying to tell me something. They get impatient and they go off, maybe Tupperware will sell, or maybe Avon will sell, or something else will sell better because this business is not happening. The person who sponsored the super salesman, thinking this guy was going to make him rich, gets discouraged and also gives up. Most people who have made it big in network marketing don't have a sales background. They may not be a teacher professionally, but most of them come from backgrounds with an element of teaching in it. I know one teacher and one school principal who, after only 24 months in a network marketing program, were earning in excess of $15,000 per month. They did it and are doing it by teaching others how to do it as well. And that's the key word, teaching others how to do what you have been taught in the first place. So let's put some numbers in the super salesperson approach so we can see more clearly where he or she went wrong. We will assume that this person, being the super salesperson, went out and sponsored 130 people. Let's also say that these sales pros got each of them to sponsor 5 others, as we've been teaching everybody. Adding 650 more for a total of 780 in his or her organization. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? That's what we learned last week. Times 5. Anything times 5. Which do you feel you could do more quickly? Sponsor 5 people who are serious and teach them how to teach, or go out and sponsor 130 people. Incidentally, the question will come up, what do I teach them? The answer is, you teach them the 10 napkin presentations. You're learning right here with this book that I'm going through. They need to have an understanding of all 10, but initially the first 4. It's always that first 4, and we're on chapter 3 now, I think. How long do you think it would take you to sponsor 130 people? How many of the first ones would be left when you sponsored number 130? You would find that you are losing them pretty fast. Yet you will discover the retention rate of the 780 in napkin presentation 1 to be higher. Once you show this to a salesperson and they understand it, they will say, aha, now I see what I've got to do. And they will go out and do it. But you have to get them to get to that aha moment. A word of caution. Be careful. You must hold them back because the typical super salesperson doesn't understand what we have just gone over in this chapter. Most sponsors in network marketing will literally encourage their people right out of the business. They will sponsor someone and their new distributor will come to them and say, hey, I got 5 new people last week, so say, great, it's encouraging me. And slap the distributor on the back, and the following week, this person signs up 5 more people. What has become of the first 5 that they signed up? They've gone already. So they've still got only 5 people that don't quite know what to do. If you understand the salespeople failure syndrome, you can still encourage them. But at the same time, stress the point of how important it is to take those first 5 they sponsored and help them get started. After I've sponsored someone, it's more important for me to go with them and help them sponsor someone else than it is for me to go out and sponsor another person for myself. I just cannot emphasize this point too much. This point will come up again in a couple of other presentations. And one of the examples is, I've lost my top lines again. Carl told me, this is a school teacher, that his plan was to sponsor his daughter in Tennessee. That she knew everybody in town, so in other words, she was a popular girl. I was talking to Carl on the phone and related to him that I thought it was great. I quickly added, however, that I needed to tell him something to pass on to his daughter. I asked him if he had a piece of paper and a pencil handy, which he did. And then we got him to write down 2 times 2 is 4 and right on through to 5 times 5. We instructed him to immediately phone his daughter and let her know the mistakes to avoid, so she would get started in the right direction. He was a good listener. He did call her and he taught her, and it's working out very well for both of them. And if you follow what we did last week in presentation 1, the 2 times 2 and the 4 times 4 and the 5 times 5, it will work for you as well. I hope everybody could hear me. I might have been dragging, but there we go. So I think, Sean, if you cut the recording,